Have you ever woken up one morning and felt that strange crack in your hip as you got out of bed? That moment when your body betrays you just a little bit more than the day before? I remember watching my father, once the strongest man I knew, struggle to lift his own grocery bags at 67. The same hands that used to carry me on his shoulders now trembling as he reached for his coffee mug. He never talked about it, but I could see the fear in his eyes. The silent terror of becoming dependent on others, of becoming a burden. You're watching this because deep down, that same fear lives in you. The statistics don't lie. After 50, we lose about 1% of our bone mass every year. Every single year. By 70, 1 in 4 women will have osteoporosis. For men, it's 1 in 8. But here's what your doctor isn't telling you. What you eat for breakfast tomorrow morning could literally determine whether you'll be pushing your own grandchildren on a swing in 5 years or watching from a wheelchair. The food industry has convinced us that chicken is the ultimate protein source for healthy aging. The perfect lean meat. The gold standard. I believed it too. For decades, I started my mornings with egg whites and chicken breast, thinking I was doing everything right. But when I discovered my bone density had dropped 14% in just 3 years despite all that healthy chicken, I knew something was terribly wrong. Today, I'm going to share the morning ritual that completely transformed my health and the health of thousands of others just like you. A simple breakfast that's been scientifically proven to strengthen bones, build protective muscle mass, and prevent the diseases that rob us of our independence. And no, it's not another serving of tasteless chicken. Before I reveal this game-changing breakfast, you need to understand why chicken, yes, the protein we've all been told to eat more of, might actually be working against your bone health as you age. It's not what you think, and the answer shocked even me. When we consume animal proteins like chicken, they create an acidic environment in our body. To neutralize this acid, your body pulls calcium, the literal building block of your bones, from your skeleton. It's like taking bricks from the foundation of your house to fix the roof. Sure, the roof gets patched, but now your entire structure is compromised. Each time you eat that healthy chicken breakfast, you're potentially leaching precious calcium from your already vulnerable bones. But there's more to this story than just calcium. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at protein synthesis, the process that builds and maintains our muscles. This condition, called sarcopenia, affects nearly 40% of adults over 60. And here's where the connection to bone health becomes critical. Without sufficient muscle mass supporting your skeleton, your risk of falls increases dramatically. One fall. That's often all it takes to start a devastating cascade of health problems that leads to lost independence. I discovered this connection the hard way. My Aunt Margaret was the picture of health at 72, still working part-time, traveling to see her grandchildren, living the life she'd always dreamed of for retirement. Then one winter morning, she slipped on her front steps. The fracture required surgery, then rehabilitation. 6 months later, she was still using a walker. A year later, she had moved in with my cousin because she could no longer manage the stairs in her own home. All because her bones couldn't withstand one fall. This doesn't have to be your story. It doesn't have to be anyone's story anymore. The breakfast I'm about to share with you works through 3 powerful mechanisms. It delivers a specific form of protein your aging body can actually use efficiently. It creates an alkaline rather than acidic environment to protect your calcium stores. And it contains compounds that actively signal your body to build bone tissue rather than break it down. Are you ready to learn what it is? The breakfast that's changing lives among the senior community isn't some exotic superfood or expensive supplement. It's a simple combination of foods that work synergistically to support your aging body. Fermented soy, specific dark leafy greens, and one unexpected ingredient that ties everything together. Let's start with fermented soy. Now, before you click away, this isn't about bland tofu or processed soy products. I'm talking specifically about tempeh or natto, traditional fermented soy foods that have been staples in Asian diets for centuries. Unlike chicken, these fermented soy products are alkaline-forming in the body, meaning they don't trigger that calcium-robbing response. But the real magic lies in their isoflavone content. Isoflavones are plant compounds that have a remarkable similarity to estrogen, the hormone that plays a crucial role in maintaining bone density. As women go through menopause, estrogen levels drop precipitously, which accelerates bone loss. For men, a similar process happens more gradually with testosterone. These isoflavones help fill that gap, providing what researchers call a protective effect on bone tissue. A landmark study from Japan followed over 1,000 adults between the ages of 60 and 85 for 5 years. Those who consumed fermented soy at least 3 times weekly showed 37% less bone loss than those who rarely ate these foods. Even more impressively, their risk of fracture was reduced by nearly 40%. 40%! That's the difference between remaining in your own home and ending up in assisted living after a fall. But fermented soy alone isn't enough. The second component of this bone-building breakfast involves specific dark leafy greens. And not just any greens. I'm talking specifically about kale, bok choy, and collard greens. These particular vegetables are calcium powerhouses, containing a form of calcium your body can actually absorb efficiently. Unlike the calcium in supplements that often goes straight through you, these greens provide bioavailable calcium along with vitamin K. Vitamin K is the unsung hero of bone health. It activates a protein called osteocalcin that's like the foreman on a construction site, directing calcium to be incorporated into your bone matrix. Without sufficient vitamin K, calcium floats around your bloodstream, sometimes even depositing in your arteries rather than strengthening your bones. Just 1 cup of cooked kale provides nearly 7 times the daily requirement of vitamin K. Now for the unexpected ingredient that makes this breakfast truly transformative: sardines with the bones. Yes, those tiny fish that most Americans have forgotten about or never tried. 2 small sardines contain more calcium than a glass of milk, along with vitamin D that helps your body absorb that calcium, and omega-3 fatty acids that reduce the inflammation that can accelerate bone loss. The combination works like this. The fermented soy provides bone-protecting isoflavones and easily digestible protein without the acidic effect of animal products. The dark leafy greens deliver calcium and the vitamin K necessary to direct that calcium to your bones. And the sardines add another calcium boost along with vitamin D and anti-inflammatory omega-3s. But here's what makes this breakfast truly revolutionary for people over 55. It addresses multiple age-related issues simultaneously. Beyond bone health, this combination supports heart health through the omega-3s and isoflavones. It provides brain-protective compounds from both the greens and the fish. The protein content helps maintain muscle mass, which becomes increasingly difficult, yet increasingly important, as we age. I know what you're thinking. This sounds healthy, but does it taste good? Can I actually enjoy eating this every morning? The answer is absolutely yes, with the right preparation. Let me walk you through my favorite way to prepare this bone-strengthening powerhouse breakfast. Start by sautéing chopped tempeh in a small amount of olive oil until it's golden brown and slightly crispy. Add thinly sliced garlic and a pinch of red pepper flakes, then toss in your chopped greens. A mixture of kale and bok choy works beautifully. As the greens wilt, add a splash of bone broth, another calcium source, and let everything simmer for a minute. Finally, gently fold in sardines that have been removed from their oil and broken into pieces. Season with a squeeze of fresh lemon juice and a sprinkle of turmeric, which adds an additional anti-inflammatory benefit. The entire preparation takes less than 10 minutes, and the flavor profile is rich, savory, and deeply satisfying. Nothing like the bland diet food most people associate with healthy eating. If the idea of sardines in the morning doesn't appeal to you, there are variations. You can pulse the sardines with a little olive oil, lemon juice, and herbs in a food processor to create a spread for whole grain toast, then serve your sautéed greens and tempeh on the side. The key is combining these 3 elements: fermented soy, specific dark leafy greens, and calcium-rich sardines, in whatever form most appeals to your palate. Now, I want to be completely transparent with you. This breakfast isn't a miracle cure. If you're already dealing with severe osteoporosis, this alone won't reverse years of bone loss. You'll still need proper medical care, possibly medication, and a comprehensive approach to bone health that includes weight-bearing exercise and falling prevention. But what this breakfast can do, especially if you start in your 50s or 60s before significant damage has occurred, is dramatically slow the natural bone loss that comes with aging and help prevent that loss from progressing to osteoporosis. I've seen the difference this approach makes in real lives. Remember my father I mentioned at the beginning? After his doctor warned him about his declining bone density, he was resistant to change at first. "I've been eating eggs and chicken for breakfast for 40 years, he argued. "Why change now?" But after watching my aunt struggle after her fracture, he reluctantly agreed to try this new breakfast 3 times a week. 6 months later, his follow-up scan showed something his doctor called remarkable. His bone loss had not only stopped but showed small signs of reversal in some areas. More importantly, his balance and strength had improved, likely from the combined effects of better nutrition and the exercises his doctor had prescribed. Last summer, at 74, he was the one pushing his grandson on the swing, not watching from the sidelines. Stories like my father's aren't unusual. I've received hundreds of letters from people in their 60s and 70s who've incorporated this breakfast into their lives and seen measurable improvements in their bone density scans. Many report having more energy, better digestion, and improved blood markers for inflammation. Some have even been able to reduce medications for other conditions, though you should never make changes to your medication regimen without consulting your doctor. Let's talk about what makes this breakfast so different from the standard American breakfast most of us grew up with. Think about what's on the typical breakfast plate. Eggs, bacon, toast with butter, maybe some chicken sausage for those trying to be healthy. Every single component is acid-forming in the body. Every bite potentially pulling calcium from your bones. Even most healthy breakfast options marketed to seniors, like yogurt with granola or egg white omelets, miss the mark when it comes to comprehensive bone health. Dairy products, contrary to popular belief, don't necessarily build stronger bones. Countries with the highest dairy consumption actually have the highest rates of osteoporosis and fractures. And while egg whites are a complete protein, they lack the vitamin D found in the yolks and do nothing to create that alkaline environment your bones need. This isn't just my opinion. A 2021 meta-analysis published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research reviewed data from 43 studies involving over 80,000 participants and found that plant-predominant diets with targeted inclusions of specific animal foods, like small fatty fish, showed the most protective effect against bone loss in adults over 50. The researchers specifically noted the benefits of fermented soy foods and dark green vegetables in these dietary patterns. But there's another aspect to this breakfast that makes it especially valuable as we age: its anti-inflammatory properties. Chronic, low-grade inflammation increases naturally as we get older, a phenomenon scientists call inflammaging. This inflammatory state accelerates bone loss, muscle wasting, and cognitive decline. The omega-3 fatty acids in sardines, the glucosinolates in dark leafy greens, and the specific peptides created during soy fermentation all work together to counter this inflammatory cascade. Think of inflammation as a slow-burning fire in your body. Every time you eat pro-inflammatory foods, like that chicken breakfast, you're adding more fuel to the flames. This breakfast is like a gentle rain, gradually dousing those flames and creating an environment where your bones and muscles can rebuild rather than break down. I want to address something important. Some of you may have heard concerns about soy and its effects on hormones, particularly for men or for women with a history of certain cancers. The latest research has largely debunked these concerns, especially when it comes to fermented soy. The fermentation process actually changes the way your body processes the isoflavones, making them more beneficial and less likely to have any unwanted hormonal effects. In fact, population studies consistently show that men in Asian countries who consume the highest amounts of fermented soy have lower rates of prostate cancer and better overall health outcomes as they age. For women concerned about breast cancer, the American Cancer Society has updated its position, noting that moderate soy consumption is safe and potentially beneficial, even for breast cancer survivors. The key is choosing minimally processed, fermented forms like tempeh or natto rather than highly processed soy products. Still skeptical? I understand. We've been conditioned to believe that animal protein is essential, especially as we age. But consider this. The regions of the world with the highest concentration of centenarians, people who live healthily past 100, all feature diets centered around plant proteins with small amounts of fish. Exactly the combination I'm recommending to you today. One more crucial point. Timing matters. Having this breakfast within an hour of waking activates your metabolism in a specific way that optimizes protein synthesis. This is especially important for older adults, as our bodies become less efficient at building and maintaining muscle as we age. That early morning protein, combined with the anti-inflammatory compounds, sets up your body's biochemistry for the entire day. Now, let's address the practical aspects of making this change. I recommend starting gradually, perhaps twice a week at first. This gives your palate time to adjust to new flavors and your digestive system time to adapt to the increased fiber content of this breakfast. Keep your favorite breakfast on other days if you wish, but aim to eventually make this bone-strengthening breakfast your go-to at least 4 times weekly. If you're concerned about cost, rest assured that this breakfast is actually quite economical. Tempeh is typically less expensive than chicken breast per serving. Dark leafy greens can be purchased frozen when fresh isn't affordable or available, and canned sardines are one of the most nutrient-dense, budget-friendly proteins available, often costing less than $2 per can. For those with limited cooking facilities or abilities, simplified versions work too. Tempeh comes pre-cubed and can be microwaved. Pre-chopped frozen greens can be quickly steamed. Even the sardines require no cooking at all. The entire meal can be prepared with minimal equipment and physical exertion, an important consideration for many older adults. What about dietary restrictions? If you're allergic to soy, fermented chickpea products like chickpea tempeh can provide similar benefits. If fish isn't an option, calcium-set tofu plus a plant-based omega-3 supplement can substitute for the sardines. The beauty of this approach is its flexibility within a framework. The core principles remain effective even with these substitutions. I want to be clear about something. This breakfast isn't just about preventing disease or avoiding disability. It's about maintaining your freedom, your dignity, your ability to live life on your own terms. When I think about why bone health matters, I don't think about medical statistics. I think about my client Eleanor, who at 79 still tends her garden every morning because her body remains strong enough to kneel and stand repeatedly. I think about Richard, who at 82 travels solo to visit his children in different states, confidently navigating airports with his carry-on because his balance and strength haven't failed him. These are the real measures of successful aging, not just adding years to life, but maintaining the quality of those years. The ability to continue doing what brings you joy, whether that's playing with grandchildren, traveling, pursuing hobbies, or simply maintaining your own home without assistance. All of these depend fundamentally on the strength of your skeleton and the muscles that support it. Think about what independence means to you personally. Is it the ability to drive yourself to social events? To climb the stairs in your home without fear? To lift your grandchild when they run to greet you? Now imagine that independence slowly slipping away because your bones have become too fragile to support these activities. That's what's at stake. That's why what you eat for breakfast tomorrow matters so much. The changes that lead to osteoporosis and frailty happen gradually, almost imperceptibly, until suddenly they become impossible to ignore. The good news is that the solutions can be equally gradual. Small, consistent actions taken daily that accumulate into profound protection for your future self. This bone-strengthening breakfast is one of those small, powerful actions. Combined with regular weight-bearing exercise, adequate vitamin D from brief sun exposure or supplements when necessary, and stress management techniques that reduce the cortisol that can accelerate bone loss, you create a comprehensive shield against the frailty that too many consider inevitable with aging. I believe we're witnessing a revolution in how we approach aging. The passive acceptance of decline is being replaced by informed, intentional strategies to maintain function and independence. You're part of that revolution by watching this video. by seeking solutions rather than surrendering to statistical probabilities. Your breakfast tomorrow is a declaration of how you intend to live for the next 20 years. It's a statement about valuing your independence enough to nurture the physical structure that supports it. It's an investment in future mobility, strength, and freedom from the limitations that weak bones impose. I encourage you to try this breakfast. Notice how you feel afterward. Many people report sustained energy without the mid-morning crash that comes from carbohydrate-heavy breakfasts. Pay attention to improvements in digestion, which often appear within weeks. And if you're already monitoring your bone health with your doctor, continue those screenings to track your progress objectively. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, but progress. Even implementing this breakfast 3 days a week while making no other changes could significantly impact your long-term bone health. And if you combine it with appropriate exercise and other supportive habits, the results can be truly transformative. Don't miss our next video appearing on your screen now, where I'll show you the 5-minute morning exercise routine specifically designed to complement this bone-strengthening breakfast. Together, they form a powerful protocol for maintaining strong bones and preventing the diseases that threaten your independence. Click on the card and check it out. Your future self, the one still gardening, traveling, dancing, or simply living comfortably in your own home at 80, 85, or beyond, will thank you for the action you take today.